Hey, how you doing? Happy Friday. This is Craig Beck from StopDrinkingExpert.com, the website where we help people just like you to escape the loop of alcohol addiction. And you may be wondering, why do I make so many videos? I make a new video every day. We go live every Wednesday. Surely there's only so many things you can say about this, Craig. And that's true, there is. And I do repeat myself a lot. And the reason for that is that every day somebody is hearing this for the first time and somebody stumbles across one of these videos and it changes their life profoundly. And so that's why I do it. But also, what people tell me is it doesn't matter that you know this stuff. Being constantly reminded helps keep you on the straight and narrow. A lot of people watch my YouTube channel and are indeed members of my program who have been sober for years, but they still check in every day. They still watch a video every day. And to other people, that might sound crazy, but I understand why they do it. This constant reminder to yourself that you can't take this for granted. You can't take your sobriety for granted. It's so wonderful. It's so precious, but it's so easily lost. And people who get sober and see the dramatic change in their life love it so much that they come back every day and they just watch something new because they're so scared of losing this precious thing. So that's why. If you are new to the channel, if this is the first video you've stumbled across, then welcome. I'm so pleased to have you here. The first thing you should be doing is hitting that subscribe button and ringing the bell so you get a notification. And please like the video. That really helps me out big time. So today I want to talk about the pandemic, and there is another shocking stat coming out of it that if you have drank alcohol to excess in the past, or you are still in the loop of problem drinking, you need to hear about this, especially if you're a woman. We'll talk about that in a moment. First of all, I just want to say a huge thank you to the guys at iHeartRadio and The Woody Show. They're always talking about me. They're always talking about my book, and it's just so thrilling to hear it. And they sent me this clip this morning. I just think it's fantastic, and I wanted to share it with you.
You guys mentioned a book, Alcohol Lied to Me, and I remember somebody mentioned it, and then I remember Woody joked about it, saying, "Oh, 4 days sober, we were a big deal." But then you laughed and said, you congratulated him. You said, "Man, it's a big deal for some people." And I was like, "Man, let me check this book out." And today I'm on 335 days of sobriety.
Wow. That's
awesome.
Craig Beck.
Yeah, Craig Beck is the name of the author. And the reason that we know about this book is because a good friend of mine who was probably the heaviest drinker. I've known some really heavy drinkers, but this guy, he was the heaviest drinker I think I've ever known in my life. And I would never imagine a day where this guy, because he lived for going to like breweries and whiskey tastings and everything else. Like, and you know, I just thought it was like a hobby, but it got pretty out of control. And he got a hold of this book, and he told me that he had stopped drinking, and at the time he was like 6 months in, and he just stopped.
Wow.
And that was it. And this book was the reason that he stopped.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, if it could have that kind of impact on this guy, it's got to be pretty good. Or like the psychology that
and he's not a professional therapist or whatever, but
no.
just his method works for a lot of people.
Yeah, again, the guy's name is Craig Beck, and the name of the book is Alcohol Lied to Me. You can even find it like on YouTube and stuff like that.
Yeah, just for hearing the science behind everything, I was like, "Wow, it makes sense." So okay, buy alcohol. So
yeah. So what was there anything like one thing in particular from the book that really kind of stood out? That was like the main thing.
And the main thing that I remember is just talking about how alcohol is poison, and it's 5% ether, ethyl, and like if we consume that in higher quantities, we just fall over dead. And I'm like, dude, that makes sense. And I looked it up and looked into it, and I was like, wow, man, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, James, congratulations,
hey,
Ben.
Show,
Yeah, that's great news, dude. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Y'all keep it up, man. Love y'all.
I appreciate it.
See you, James.
Bye, guys.
Greg's afraid to read the book because he might quit.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I'm not a quitter.
I like being lied to.
I love it. And thank you to the guys at the Woody Show. I really appreciate it. I promise when I'm in California, I'm coming in to see you. Listen, I was just listening to that, and it reminded me of something I used to do as a drinker. And I want to ask you if you did it too. Come on, I want you to be honest with me. Answer this question. Have you ever been to an airport or any sort of event where they have whiskey tasting going on, or vodka tasting, or any sort of alcohol tasting promotional booth? Have you ever gone up and tasted the whiskey or the vodka and pretended like you were some sort of connoisseur? Have you ever done that? Where you see, basically in your head, you're going, ooh, free alcohol. But you don't want them to think that you've got a problem. So you go up to the stand and you go, yeah, I'd like to try some of this. And you get the sample, the little tiny thimble of whiskey, and you taste it, don't you? And you act all like you're an expert. You're like, oh yes, I'm getting PT overtones, and there's certainly a interesting hue to this one. You never buy it though, do you? You never go, yeah, I'll take 3 bottles. Because that's not why you went over there. You went there to get some free alcohol, didn't you? Come on, surely it wasn't just me. Surely you've done this too. Honesty session in the comments below, please. That's what we're looking for today. So let's talk about this blog post that I've just put up on the website. And we're starting to see the aftermath of the pandemic. And I know it's kind of easy to forget that there was a pandemic now, that we've got bigger things to worry about with the evil of Putin raising his head in Europe. But you remember we had 2 years of hell, 2 years of lockdown and stress and worry about our jobs and things like that. And a lot of people turned to alcohol as a solution to it because the evil clown said, hey, you're working from home. You can do it with a glass of wine in your hand. And that's how it started. And we've learned many things about how the pandemic has affected people. It does appear that women have fared much worse when it comes to alcohol problems as a result of the pandemic than men. And I don't really know why, but that is definitely coming out as a case. Well, we're seeing reports coming out today that alcoholic hepatitis has increased dramatically in the pandemic, as you might have expected. But I mean, look at this. In the first week of the pandemic, alcohol sales in the United States increased 55%. Wow. So what impact has that had on our health? Well, we know that it's created an epidemic of alcohol problems, but we're seeing physical health results now coming through in the stats as our hospitals are catching up with their backlog and they're starting to treat people. And we look at the story here from the Henry Ford Hospital in Detroit, and just looking at their past cases. In the first 5 months of 2020, 93 patients were admitted to the hospital with alcoholic hepatitis, an average of 19 cases per month. This is just one hospital, remember. 19 cases a month. This is a 50% increase on the 12.3 cases that they normally average for the same months between 2016 and 2019. A 50% increase in the number of people being admitted to hospital with end-stage alcoholic liver failure. There's a really scary line in this blog article. Let me see if I can find it because I just want to highlight it. Here we go. There is no cure for the disease, and there are no FDA-approved treatments. In many cases, a liver transplant is the only way you will survive. So, if you do end up in this situation, and trust me, you'll get no notice. The problem with the liver is there's very few nerve endings in it. And so you don't actually feel the damage you're doing until your liver is so swollen that it's pressing on other parts of the abdomen where there are nerve endings. So don't be thinking, I'd spot it before it happened and I'd deal with it. All these people who are dying, look at this. Every year, more than 120,000 people in the United States are hospitalized with alcoholic hepatitis. 120,000 people a year just in the United States. These are not 120,000 stupid people. What, do you think this is just, people who are too stupid to realize that they're doing damage? This illness will catch you by surprise. And when you get this far, there's no cure. There's no treatment. There's no tablet they can give you. They're going to put you on the transplant list. So, is that a way out? Is that going to save your life? Well, I just did a little bit of research here. What's the wait for a liver transplant in the United States at the moment? Well, apparently it's on average 149 days for adults. 149 days is the average wait time. That means some people will be shorter than that and people will be longer than that. And you might be thinking, well, that's okay. That should give me enough time to survive this. Unfortunately, when it comes to alcohol and harm to the liver, after 28 days of waiting for a liver, there's a 26% chance you'll die. As in, 26% of the people on the wait list are dead by the first month. And as always with alcohol, that shocking number isn't linear. It's not 50% at the end of month 2. After a 2-month wait for a liver, 70% of the people waiting are dead. What's that number again? So the average wait for a liver is like 4 months. After 2 months, 70% of drinkers are dead. You're killed by the maths. Because it's even more dramatic than that. Because to get on the liver transplant list, you have to first demonstrate that you are sober for several months. Do you see what's happening here? This is one of those horrible situations where you're going to be sat down by a doctor and told, you're going to die. And there's nothing you can do about it. Because the odds are just so acutely stacked against you, you got no chance. Imagine that conversation. Imagine then having to go home and relay that information to your husband, your wife, your children, your friends, your family. The doctor just gave me 3 months to live. There's nothing they can do. Now, nobody wants to think about this stuff. I know that. But I'm making these videos in the off chance that you will be one of the people that watches it and it stops you ever having to go through this horrible thing. Maybe this video will be the slap about the face that you need to make today the day you take action on your drinking. I hope so. If you're already sober, then I hope that this video is a good reminder to you what a powerfully good decision you made back then and why you absolutely should stay on the sober path that you have chosen to be on. So thank you so much for being with me today. Don't forget, we are a very happy little group here. We all get together every Wednesday for a live support session here on YouTube. It's Wednesdays, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. You might have to set your alarm clock a little bit early or a little bit late, depending on where you are in the world. But try and make an appointment in your diary to be here every week. You will find it extremely beneficial. It will help you stay on the sober path. And if you fall off, this is the place you need to be to get back on. All right. Thank you so much for being with me today. Have an amazing weekend, and I will see you next week for more videos and information. Thanks a lot.